There's a meme on the internet that maybe many of you have seen, and it's a female saying, there's only one thing men want, and it's effing disgusting. And obviously the implication there is fairly clear. But the thing that I've seen referred to the most over my time on social media and the internet is that men just want the NCAA EA Sports video game, the college football game, to be back. And we got some good news on that today. A teaser dropped actually yesterday on social media everywhere that the NCAA football game would be coming. Full details coming in May, likely a late July release for the EA Sports college football video game. My favorite thing about this is that they are not even putting the letters NCAA on this thing anymore. They can absolutely go die in a fire. We've talked about that plenty. And so we don't necessarily need to make this an NCAA hate video, but I am glad that we're getting the game, which prompted me to think about what 5 things there absolutely has to be in this video game for Florida State fans. Specifically, why do we deserve this more than anybody? Well, it's obvious. We just got screwed out of the playoff, and so I'm going to continue to beat on that drum and never let it go ever. And so I think we should be shown a little bit more favoritism when it comes to what this video game looks like. You think that's petty? I don't care. That's what I want, and it's my channel and video, and so that's what we're going to talk about. Number one thing that I think needs to be in this video more than anything else, there has to be an NIL aspect that's very, very realistic. It can't just be, oh, you induce with NIL or you get to sign guys to NIL and you have a certain budget. No, there needs to be NIL, and there needs to be both positive and negative consequences for it. What do I mean by that? Not just a, hey, you get to campus and you're Keon Coleman and we give you some NIL because you got here. No, we're not playing that game. We're inducing kids with NIL like is happening everywhere. And we're telling them when you get to campus, you're getting X, Y, and Z. If you land that kid, you're in great shape. You are in absolute great shape because that kid's going to end up taking your NIL money and he's going to be very happy, hopefully playing for your university and getting paid very handsomely to do it. But if you are inducing a kid with NIL and you miss on him, you run the risk of that kid turning on you. Now, it wouldn't happen every single time, but there have been some pretty notable times that it has happened and it has cost some teams. Florida State fans know about this. We are under some NCAA penalties right now with the Amarius Mims situation. Florida also is about to find out with the Jaden Rashada situation. And so you can run the risk of inducing with NIL, but you better be willing to deal with the penalties if you miss on kids. Number one thing I think has to be in it is realistic NIL with realistic penalties. Number two, there absolutely needs to be an AD mode or like an AD bonus. So there was coaches mode or dynasty mode where you really are that coach and you build up your career. You can start at a small school or you can start at Florida State, doesn't matter. But you have an AD bonus and you're just more customizable. You can customize more things around your program. Do you want to bring in some Doak renovations, or you hate the Doak renovations and so you want to take Doak back to the way it used to be? You want to change around budgets within your program? You want to change certain things about your coaches' contracts? I like the AD mode. Or maybe it's even just a bonus for having an absolute rock star athletic director like Florida State has. I think you need to incorporate something about the total management of the program. Not just the coach anymore, but the AD level as well. College football is big enough now where that side of this matters. The business side of this matters. And if you really want to take it to the next level, an AD mode or an AD bonus would certainly be a fun way to do that. And obviously, if you're at a school like Florida State where you love your athletic director and not at a state like Florida where you hate yours, an AD bonus would be a ton of fun. An AD mode or just some kind of aspect where you can focus on that bigger picture of really building the program, not just the team. I think that'd be a lot of fun. They kind of had that in some old Maddens, right? You could upgrade your stadium. You could change some things around your stadium. You could add certain concessions and you could add different perks to your stadium. That'd be a fun thing to add in this new video game as well. Number 3, there needs to be a bigger focus on rivalries. Being state champs matters a ton to Florida State, Florida, and Miami. Even though those two schools refuse to play each other on a regular basis, it means a lot to Florida State to be able to say that we're state champs. And for 2 years in a row, we've been able to say that, and I'd like to say that we'll probably do it again this year in 2024. But that needs to be part of it. Whether they put rings in, whether that you get an even bigger bump in recruiting for having beaten your rivals' heads in, there needs to be an emphasis on those big-time rivalries, especially here in the state of Florida, where the rivalries mean so much more. Alabama-Auburn would be the same thing. Ohio State-Michigan would be the same thing. But in the Big Three specifically, it needs to be a bigger focus. It needs to be something that the NCAA makers, the people who are working on this video game, again, not NCAA, but the college football EA Sports video game, needs to take more into account from that aspect. Number 4, and this one might blow your mind a little bit, but when I say it, you'll probably say, that makes sense. You should have the ability to leave a conference if you want to. And I know that sounds crazy. And I know that in old games, you could just rearrange the conferences however you want to. But I don't mean like that. I don't want to just be able to recustomize things or change a schedule around or anything like that. I want the actual ability to leave a conference with realistic goals of, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, you can accomplish this goal. Conference realignment is a huge part of our sport right now. It's not just Florida State. It is all over the country. We just blew up the entire Pac-12, and it is now the Pac-2. And so it's not just the Seminoles. It's UNC, it's Clemson, it's Miami, it's NC State. It's where's Pitt going to land? It's where's Virginia going to land? It's where else will the SEC and the Big Ten go? Are there certain metrics or certain things you could do if you win 2 of the next 5 NCAA championship or college football playoff championships? You get to upgrade to the SEC or the Big Ten. If you go 10 wins the next 6 years in a row, you can get out of the group of 5 and go to a bigger conference. You'll be desired by that conference. I like the aspect of putting conference realignment into the video game. It is a massive part of our current day and age. So why not add it? Number 5, there needs to be a huge emphasis on the transfer portal. With the windows accurate, December needs to take you longer to complete than September through November. It needs to take longer to do that off season than it does the entire rest of the season. So number 5 is absolutely the transfer portal and the craziness around that. But while that's going on, you need to be re-recruiting your roster. You need to be having meetings with your players and with your team to keep them in. You need to be doing all of your coaching hiring there in December like real coaches have to do. You need to be getting ready for your bowl game or your playoff game or your playoffs games if we are in the 12 team at that time. You need to be then working towards early signing day. And that window of December needs to be nuts, but the transfer portal is all part of it. Florida State obviously dominated the transfer portal in the time that they've been going and the time that Mike Norvell's been in Tallahassee. Obviously, that would be part of your coaching tree. You should continue to see that get upgraded and upgraded and upgraded and upgraded. And the better you are in the portal, the better you'll continue to be because that proof of concept is there for players that are looking and transferring and coming and going. And so I think the transfer portal would be a massive thing to add. And I believe the transfer portal will be in it, but it needs to be a very heavy focus, a very heavy major emphasis, especially for teams like Florida State who have been so reliant on it, so good at getting players in that portal. What do you want to see added? What of my 5 do you think is crazy? Do you hate the AD mode? Do you hate the ability to leave a conference? Do you hate the NIL and the penalties? That, to me, that's actually the most fun. I like the risk. I like hey, how far can we push this envelope? How far can we cheat? It's a video game. Let's have fun. That's, to me, the most fun part of it. I like the risk reward there. I like the risk reward of being the AD and changing things around and maybe upsetting some of your fans, but maybe you make more money and then everyone's happy in the end. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What do you like? What do you not like? Let's talk about it down in the comments. Can't wait for this video game to come out. We're going to do so much fun stuff with it. Make sure that you're part of our Patreon. We'll update rosters. We'll do a bunch of stuff over there. It's patreon.com/DFNS if you haven't joined already. On our national channel, I did a list of 10 things I wanted to see. A couple of these are in there, but more of them are national focused. Go check that video out by clicking on the screen right now.